It will be Ryung versus DevianT. Best of 3 series beginning on Frost LE. Okay. Haven't cast in a little while, so this is going to be a team-up. Historically, TVP was one of Ryung's weakest matchups. However, lately he's got a little bit better at it. I'd say TVT is still his strongest, but yeah, he's a little bit better at it. Funnily enough, the guy in the house that's best at TVP right now is Hart, who is just terrifying. Really, really scary. Here we go, folks. Welcome to Frost LE. It's my pleasure to bring you to the southwest position in the Blue Trunks playing Terran, Ax.Ryung. Versus his opponent to the northwest position in the Green Trunks. Playing Protoss, it is DevianT. I must admit, I know little about DevianT. And these are the kind of cups that are very, very good for that exposure if you happen to be fairly new. Admittedly, he could be someone really, really awesome, but I have no idea. I'm sorry. I could not find him on Liquipedia or anything along those lines, so that's how it's just going to have to be. But we'll see. Going up against Ryung is pretty tough to start with. If Ryung gets knocked out in the first round, then, well, we'll take his Christmas presents back. That's the threat. For those of you who don't know, he's a big fan of Real Madrid, the football team. That being real football, none of your soccer nonsense. Huge fan of Real Madrid. So, for Christmas, we got him the 2014 Real Madrid strip with Ryung. And the number on the back is actually his birthday. Which was 91. I think. Yes, pretty sure it was. Like, am I supposed to know the birthdays of my players? It's not really like forgetting the anniversary of your wife, is it? I mean, I guess in Starcraft terms it kind of is, but... Alright, Ryung is going for a CC first, which on Frost is not a terrible idea, certainly. It's also good if you're pretty confident that you're just better than your opponent. You can get a good economic lead. You don't have to play too safe. But you got to be careful when you do that, because a player that believes he is perhaps not as good as you may attempt to cheese, because he feels he's got a better shot at taking you out. So it can be a little bit risky, but Ryung has always been a macro-focused player, especially in this matchup, so it's not that surprising that we see that out of him. In the meantime, Deviant's gone for the very standard 13 gateway into Cybernetics Core. Nothing out of the ordinary here. He's going to open up with a Zealot. He may end up cancelling that. And he probably should, because that Zealot's not going to get much done. Even if it runs right the way across the map, which it isn't rally pointed to do, then there's still going to be 2 barracks up, and there will be at least 2 Marines by the time the Zealot gets there. Frost is just too big to even attempt that kind of aggression, so... We'll see, he may finish the Zealot, but... Well, there you go. Straight into a Stalker here. No Mothership Core coming out. He goes Warp Gate and Stalker immediately. Might attempt to put on some early multiple gate pressure. Bunker going up the front here for Ryung. There's these couple of minutes where you're pretty vulnerable as a Terran player. You gotta watch out for that. The second barracks is supposed to... sort of shore that up. Because you've got 2 barracks down and you're able to produce 2 Marines at a time, and that helps you catch up a little bit. But he went for Warp Gate pretty quickly. He's taking a second gas. The gas is fairly late, actually, on 27 there. Which does say to me, you know what, maybe he does want to do a little bit more with the Gateway. But if you look what he's doing with his Chrono Boost, it's all going into his Nexus. So right now he doesn't seem to have any intention whatsoever of building a quick set of gateways and getting aggressive. He's just playing pretty standard at the moment. But his expansion ends up being quite late. And against Ryung, that's going to be a bit of a risk. The Protoss player has 24 probes right now, but rapidly Ryung is going to catch up to that, and his mule count is pretty good too. And now he finally takes his gas, really late in 28, which is fine. It's to be expected. He's actually adding a 3rd barracks here. And we're going to see a Stargate play out of DevianT, and it's a proxy too. Alright. Little cheesy. Didn't actually see the pylon down there, so should have seen that one coming. Okay, well, with Ryung's production, he should be okay against Proxy Oracle. He might lose a few SCVs, bearing in mind a lot of these Marines are at the front, so Ryung might be forced backwards here. He does have 3 barracks up. So we've seen quite a bit of this out of Terran players that want to be greedy and get the early expansion, but they will throw down 3 barracks pretty quickly because they know there's a possibility of a Proxy Oracle. Ryung is also aware of this, so he's throwing down an Engineering Bay to be safe as well. There is no scouting information here from Ryung, but he doesn't know his opponent, and this is a map where Proxy Oracle works pretty well, so getting ready for that sounds like a good idea. Very good idea. Ryung's got plenty of Marines to throw this back, but they are in the wrong position, so missile turret is going up, but it's actually at the front here. He actually suspects DT, not Proxy Oracle, so this is going to catch him by surprise, I think. He will see it coming in from the supply depot, so that might be enough time to pull these Marines back, but he could take some damage from this. Here it comes. Proxy Oracle on the way. This damn thing is pretty quick. Ryung is... There we go. Now he sees it. 3 Marines is not enough to kill this, so he's going to lose a good chunk of SCVs to this. That's already 4 kills from the Oracle, 5 kills, and now he should be able to drive that Oracle away, but 5 kills on the Proxy, it's okay, but I don't think that's really going to do much to Ryung, who went CC first and already has double Mule and 30 SCVs even after that damage, so I don't think that really does much. He needed to do more. In the meantime, he's expanded behind it, though, so things are looking okay for him. He's grabbing 2 more gas. Tech is very delayed here for Ryung, whereas it's not too delayed for DevianT. He went immediately into a Robo, got his Observer out, now he can think about Immortals, and he also didn't build a Mothership Core, which is actually good. I know, it sounds weird. Why would it be good that he didn't build a Mothership Core? Well, it's good because he didn't need it. It was a waste of gas. He didn't need to defend against anything, so he could go full aggressive and didn't have to build that defensive unit, so that's nice for him. The Oracle is going to try and make its way into the natural, and it's going to do it. It's going to do some damage here. 4 Marines is not enough to kill an Oracle, so this is pretty good here from DevianT. That's 3, 4. There we go, driven away with stutter step, but 10 kills on that Oracle, so that has definitely paid for itself now, I feel, and now's the time just to pull that Oracle back and just say, you know what, I did the job. I've got my expansion, I'm absolutely fine. The economic advantage of the Terran player has been somewhat negated, so I'm okay. And he's going straight up to Colossus, so big aggressive 2-base Colossus build. Single forge going down as well. No upgrades here. And we're going to see Ryung go up to +1 infantry. Working on his combat shield here as well. That's not too shabby. Marines now on the field. Stim is done. And +1 there. But he's not going to get too much done at the front at all. I think he's looking for the Proxy Oracle location. He still hasn't found it. The Oracle's back in again. Doesn't do any damage. It's finally shut down, though. I think maybe a little bit of a mistake from DevianT to throw that in there. It was a little bit unnecessary to lose it, I feel. He could have held it on later for a backstab, because Ryung seemed very unwilling to build a missile turret in that mineral line. Now he's catching up on SCVs again, and Ryung's parade is making its way out. 24 Marines, 5 Marauders. This is actually going to hit before Colossus. This is actually a very dangerous push now. It's going to be reliant on photon overcharge and good sentries, because, as you can see, the army supply count is pretty heavily in favor of the Terran player. Making his way up here is going to be careful not to get force-fielded off. He loses a few Marines, not too bad. That's a little ugly for DevianT here, and Ryung's going to make his way up the ramp again. 1 sentry down, second one focused, and this is looking ugly. This is not good for DevianT whatsoever. Mothership Core gets shut down there, and we've got the photon overcharge in play. So that's going to keep the Terran player away for a while, but the army supply is now massively in favor of the Terran player. DevianT is in a lot of trouble. There is a Colossus on the way, but it doesn't have extended thermal lance. And with dropship mobility and stim, this is going to be a tough hold for DevianT. In comes the drop, so the Colossus now moving into place. Ryung might decide to make his way out of here, losing a couple of Marines. He's not too worried about that. He's trying to do as much damage as possible. He's coming in from the bottom, trying to crush the rest of it, and relying on the fact that that's only 1 Colossus. It can't focus on too many targets at a time. Down comes the Colossus. By the looks of it, the Marauders are going to get it, and down it goes. Very nice. And now Ryung elevates into the base, and DevianT is, at this point, almost dead. He's got no units whatsoever. There he goes. Last unit goes down. Only a Mothership Core remaining, and as good as Photon Overcharge is, it's not that good. Forge is going to get cancelled before the +1 upgrade finishes, and that, as I say, is going to be the GG. DevianT flooding a lot of minerals here. There's the GG. So Ryung actually isn't even ranked on this account. For those of you who don't know, by the way, Ryung qualified for GSL Code A, which is pretty cool. Ryung thought that he should play in Korea again, and to be fair, he didn't really have much of a choice in the matter, simply because, fact is, he ended up losing his Challenger League matches, so he actually got knocked out of WCS. He was in a bit of a slump, but since then, he's really come back into his own. His Ace of Team Story Cup games, his GSL games, GSTL games are really good, as was his GSL qualifier. So we're pretty happy to have him back in Korea. That's pretty cool. So currently, Ax.Ryung has 1 player in WCS NA Premier, 2 players in Challenger NA, and 1 player in Code A. So, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Ax.Ryung. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Terran to the northeast of Yon Su versus his opponent to the southwest position, currently down 1 game in this best-of-3 series. It is DevianT. So DevianT had a pretty nice build last game, and it actually did decent damage, but I think that his follow-up was a little too weak. He was sitting on a lot of minerals. It seemed to me he could have thrown down a lot more gateways, and then combined that Oracle with some pressure at the front. Because there was only 1 bunker, it was only really unstimmed Marines. With good Stalker Micro, he could have picked off a lot of those Marines, he could have pressured the front and done a lot more damage, and really stopped the Terran from getting into full-on macro mode. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But that's maybe something he wants to try if he's up against that build again, but it isn't this time around. We're going to see a very standard build out here from Ryung. This is most likely going to be a Reaper first, because he got his refinery on 12, which usually means you're lining that up with a Reaper. It's the way that it goes. This finishes, you mine gas. Around the time the barracks finishes, you got 50 gas. You can build a Reaper straight away. Probe Scout coming out is going to see that, but doesn't really make a huge amount of difference. Reaper's going to be a nice scout. He may be able to do some damage to the probe line. That's certainly a possibility. He may even kill a Zealot if DevianT decides to go for that. But he's got an early scout off. He should be able to identify this build very easily. It's a very, very common opener, so there's nothing out of the ordinary here. There you go. There's the 3 gas in there. And as you can see, it ends about 40 gas, 48, and then 52. And then he builds his Reaper immediately. You should know that if you've been watching my stream, because I open with this build in almost every matchup, perhaps with the exception of versus Terran. It's very, very good. It gets you scouting information, it gets you map control, and it allows for harassment. A way to shut this down, of course, would be to get a Mothership Core. Currently, DevianT is not building a unit. He's probably just going to wait for the Cyber Core. He's putting down a second gateway, though, which is interesting. Ryung's even scouting here with the SCV. I think he was wanting to know if there's any cheese coming. Scouting and seeing the second gateway, he should be thinking to himself, alright, that's interesting. Command center going down here. The Reaper's on its way across the map, and the Stalker's being chrono boosted, so that means that this SCV might die if it hangs around for too long, and the Reaper won't really get much done. So we might even see double Stalker coming out here from DevianT, and then we start to see a little bit of pressure at the front, which could be quite effective against just Marines, which currently is what we're looking at here from Ryung. And Ryung is going with the reactor build, so it's a very standard build, pretty old build, works very, very well. But it can be a bit vulnerable to some Stalker pressure, so you might want to watch out for that. Warp Gate is now on the way, so let's see if DevianT decides to throw down some Stalkers here. He's floating a good amount of minerals. He absolutely could do that. There we go. Stalker and a Twilight Council. Alright. Twilight Council and 2 gateways, mining gas on all 6. So, I mean, Blink Stalker is possible here, but I wouldn't be surprised with CDT. Now, there's 2 more Stalkers coming out. Definitely a little bit of Blink, I think. Bunker coming down at the front here, and Ryung completing his expansion. So again, Ryung in a great economic position. So it really relies on DevianT to do something with this. It's interesting that he's only got 2 gateways. I'd imagine he'd want to add on a 3rd. Let's see if he's going Blink or if he's going to go straight for DTs. Which he very well might. No probe out to build the Dark Shrine, so is he going to go Blink? Yes, he is. There we go. I'd expect him to add on at least a 3rd gateway. 2-gate Blink doesn't really do anything. There we go. 3-gate. Okay. This is pretty good. So 3-gate Blink can be an absolute pain in the arse. Just bear in mind that Yon Su has reasonable space here, but it has these very, very large cliffs. So blinking up there, not so easy. In the meantime, Ryung just sitting on raw Marines, and he's going to be pretty late on his stim. He doesn't have any Marauders either, but he is building one. He's going to need more than 1. 2 more added, so he's actually gone all the way up to 4. He's just going to go straight up 4-gate Blink. There's actually no sign of an expansion here from DevianT whatsoever, so he is all in at this point. His probe count's pretty low. Ryung is actually salvaging his bunker. Don't know about that, unless he... he's rebuilding it there. Okay, he smells. He knows what it is. He did actually get the scout off on the 3rd gateway, and he knows what the Stalker count is, so it's to be expected. Did he get... he got the Twilight Council as well. Oh, okay, he knows exactly what this is. Now, this is something that Alicia does an awful lot, and Ryung practices against this, so this is going to be... It's going to be quite difficult to actually make this work, especially with Stim on the way here. So I have a feeling DevianT is not going to do too well with it. But we'll see. Never underestimate Blink Stalker. Blink is about to complete. DevianT making his way in here. Mothership core there as well, just to help with a little bit of vision, so that makes that even more effective. He's moved his orbital command back, so that economic advantage is gone, and that's a cheeky little pylon, making sure that he can't expand. Warping in a few more stalkers here. Ryung is ready to go. That's the logical blink in position, but Deviant knows the bunker is there, so he's going to look to see what else he can do, and maybe try and contain Ryung, see if he can find a way in. Looking for it. Is concussive shell done? No, it isn't. Stim's not done either, actually, so if this blink hits right now, it could do damage, but Stim's done in 20 seconds, so I don't know about this. It's a pretty even supply count. There is a bunker there, nicely placed again by Ryung, who is... this is the kind of standard place where you'd expect these stalkers to come in, so this is nothing out of the ordinary. Ryung is wasting a lot of his SCVs here because he's a little bit worried about blink stalkers coming up there. He's getting a little bit of visibility on there. Doing a little bit of damage, but it's not really doing much, and DevianT is kind of pushed away here. And I think, honestly, DevianT has got to expand. He's not getting in. Absolutely not. And he realizes that that actually leaves Ryung in a pretty good economic position if he can afford to bring this back down. The Stalkers are continuing to menace, though. He's trying to contain with them, which is a decent idea. Ryung doesn't have concussive shell, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to handle this. To try and snipe away the orbital command just a little bit. Dark Shrine is going to be the follow-up here for DevianT, so he really does want to get sneaky. Bit of a stim forward there by Ryung. He does not have medivacs yet. One just popping out right now. So he still has to be a little bit careful. The stalk count's still pretty high. You know, it's 21 stalkers. Well blinked, they could do a lot of damage to this army. Ryung has decided, you know what, I'm going to bypass this entirely. The Mothership core's right there in full energy, so I'm going to just go right around. I'm going to hit him. How on earth did he manage to sneak that in? And Deviant's not going to see it. There's a who builds a bunker in their opponent's base at 9 minutes 50? That is completely unexpected. This is going to be a nasty surprise here for DevianT. That's ridiculous. He must have had an SCV just hanging around there that never got spotted. Usually you see Protoss pull this kind of stuff, but not Terran. This is going to get really funny. This is going to finish as soon as this arrives. There's a bunker in the corner of the base and a full drop with no response as of yet. Ryung salvages his bunker. He's ready to sally forth. I think he's going to do a two-pronged attack right here. He's dropped in position. DevianT sees it. Oh, now he stims forward. Will Ryung go down the ramp? He's going right into the mineral line. That is going to get absolutely gutted. This is going to force a recall, but now he stims down. And DevianT is not ready for it. There's the recall coming in. He takes a couple of units out in the process. Picks up and goes away. Well, that was a bit of a surprise. Haven't seen that done. 8 workers killed by Ryung in that little attack. And the bunker salvaged as well. Completely breaks the contain. Smashes down these pylons. Now, however, we're dealing with DT, so he's got to watch out. He does have some scan energy, though. Got to watch out for that. Ryung is going to make his way in. He needs to get a good scan. He actually has a ton of scan energy. That's totally fine. He should be able to shut this down without any problem at all. 2 DT's already dead. 3rd DT is hiding. It's over to the side right there. He spots it, and down it goes. Oh, dear. Well, I think Deviant's in a really bad spot now, I've got to say. Economy, army size, I mean, more than double the army size right here for Ryung. Shuts down all the cheese, no problem at all. Shuts down the Blink Stalker aggression. And DeviantT is going to have to somehow hold on. He does have Photon Overcharge, so that will be helpful. He's got a decent amount of energy. He may be able to throw down a Time Warp as well, but the parade is on the way right here from the Terran player. There's an Archon being morphed in. DT makes its way over the map. It's going to be a little annoying, but honestly, I think the DT is just going to die. As soon as it gets into range of this missile turret, it's going to die at the Widow Mines. And snap, crackle, pop. Down it goes, and there's the aggression coming in. And DeviantT does not have anywhere near enough to stop this. It's an insane number of units crashing down on him. He needed some of those aggressive tactics to work. None of them did, and that results in the economy of the Terran just absolutely running over DeviantT. Base is forfeit. In come the DTs. They're going to get a couple of units, but once the scan goes down, that's really going to make no difference whatsoever. There's the GG, and Ryung advances 2-0.